we have another video that discusses where do you start when it comes to which products, if you're taking one or two or three or four. I think Essential One is the foundational place where everyone should start, or one of my other multivitamins, for instance, our complete family of multivitamins. But a multivitamin is really where you start because that's the foundation of nutrition that we hope we get from our diet, but sadly in America we tend to not get from our diet for a number of reasons, both because we tend to not make the best dietary choices, but even if we do, in the last several decades, as recently as the last few decades, our food supply has changed dramatically. Agriculture has an emphasis on getting products to market quickly that look really nice, but aren't necessarily all that rich in nutrition. So unfortunately, the availability of key nutrients in our food has suffered. The way our diet is put together, that has undermined the nutrition intake we have. So where we start is typically with a multivitamin, multimineral supplement. If you look at the typical ones out there, Centrum, one a day, and even more popular than Centrum or one a day, or the knockoffs, the duplicates of Centrum or one a day, that are done under the labels of various retailers, whether it's Target or Walmart or Costco or any of the supermarkets or discount drug chains or whatever they might be. They all have their own versions, it seems, of Centrum or one a day, and they even say compared to Centrum or compared to one a day, and it tends to be a few dollars less expensive. So they're all basically the same. I'd say that 90+% of the multivitamins sold in America are all basically the same, and they're all one major disappointment. They haven't changed much in my lifetime, and I'm not that young. So they basically are about what they were, as much as 50+ years ago. So when you look at a multivitamin, you really need to contemplate what's in the multivitamin. I have another video I did discussing about purity of products in the absence of additives. All of those multivitamins are present in tablets, which require an enormous number of additives, whether it's artificial colors and binders and fillers and lubricants and disintegrants and all sorts of even sugars and sweeteners that they coat the pill with so it tastes good in your mouth. So if your goal is to consume less unnecessary stuff, then tablets are not the way to go. Also, when you take a multivitamin, you're obviously taking it for purposes of delivering the vitamins and minerals or carotenoids or things that you're not getting in your diet. It really is an intelligent decision to provide that which is now lacking from our diet. So what's in that product should reasonably compensate based upon the science for what we are not getting in our diet. Sadly, the multivitamins that represent the bulk of the marketplace, as I said before, well over 90%, they deliver minimal amounts of key nutrients. Since the inception of my company 38 years ago, I put a minimum of 1,000 IU of vitamin D3 in every multivitamin we've made. Now all our multivitamins deliver a minimum of 2,000 IU of vitamin D3. Most multivitamins out there are around 400, maybe at most 1,000. When you look at vitamin B12, our multivitamins are delivering a couple hundred micrograms of B12, just as we've done with our Essential One. So when you're looking at our multivitamin, you're not looking at these minimum daily type requirements. You're looking at the requirements that the science has informed us as needing. And our Essential One, even though it is our entry-level multivitamin, it is anything but a foundational or entry-level multivitamin. If it is a foundation, it's a very serious foundation because it is the equivalent of a separate vitamin D3. It is the equivalent of a separate B12. It is the equivalent of a separate B complex of a separate vitamin C. And all of this in a small, easy to swallow capsule. You might say, how could you be so much higher in potency than all those big tablets and be in a small capsule? Easy answer. To make a tablet, they put all sorts of other things and binders and fillers in those tablets. We do not. So we have that entire internal volume of that capsule to only put active ingredients. So we could have 2,000 IU of vitamin D3. We can have 200 micrograms of vitamin B12. We could have high levels of all the B complex. So we deliver all those nutrients at levels that are not seen in your typical multivitamin because we don't have additives taking up space. It's purely active, beneficial ingredients. And what's best about Essential One, beyond the science, it's the experience. Because even if I made the best numerically, biochemically, scientifically sound multivitamin in the world, but if it was in a huge pill that was hard to swallow, you'd stop taking it. If it was in a huge pill that upset your stomach, you'd stop taking it. That's basically the story of the leading multivitamins in the market. So if it was in something that upset your stomach, that was just difficult to digest, all the typical repeating on you things that you experience with leading multivitamins, you'd stop taking it. So not only did I have to have as a goal making the most scientifically sound multivitamin out there, I had to make a multivitamin that did everything in one small, simple, easy to swallow capsule, because that's what people wanted. Those are the most popular products on the market, those one-pill multivitamins, and for good reason. They're simple, they're convenient, but they're unpleasant, they're difficult to swallow, they're full of all sorts of chemicals that you don't want. So I had to create a product that delivered on the science, which theirs do not, and also delivered on the experience, which theirs do not. We deliver on both. We are the ultimate multivitamin in terms of potency in a single capsule, and also in terms of experience. You will experience no problems. If you look at the reviews on our Essential One, literally thousands of reviews, over 80% of them are 5 stars, over 95% of them are positive reviews. That should tell you that not only did I succeed in terms of the science, but I succeeded in terms of the experience. And I know you'll agree.